Hello and welcome back to Coding with Carl. This is episode 34 of the Zero to Android show. The show in which you get to watch me learn how to do Android related activities. That's right. And in today's episode, I think we're going to be doing a lot of user interface work. We started last episode building a task scheduler, if you like, something for scheduled tasks so that we can have tasks that repeat every single day. And that's what we're going to be cracking on with today. So we may be in for an hour of very fiddly work with Android Studio's design view for interfaces. Yeah. If you're new to the show and you want to check out any previous episodes, they're all on YouTube here on the Coding with Carl channel in the Zero to Android playlist. Please feel free to drop by, subscribe, give me a like, and I do recommend watching them at double speed because things can get a bit slow sometimes if we are struggling, or if I am struggling, should I say. Okay, without further ado, let's jump in and start messing around with this interface. Now, it looks a bit crappy at the minute because we only put 15 minutes or so into it in the last episode. But if we pull it up here, we can see what we've got. We've got a bunch of stuff and none of it is properly aligned. Now, I've been thinking about how I want this to work, and I think that the best way to do it is that we're going to have to capture different data depending on which of these options the user selects. But I think the first thing we need to do is there's another option here which will be every day, which we didn't put in. So let's jump in and change that. Resources, values, and it's proto operation options. There we go. So yeah, one in here, CIT, change in tag, every day. And if it's every day, we don't need to do anything else with it because we don't need any additional information to populate the row in our prototype table here. It will just be task, goal, and operation. Input will be null. Oh, we do need the time, don't we? Yeah, we do need the time. So I think that's probably the next input that needs to go in. Where is it? Where are we? Here we are. So we should have a select box for hours and minutes, this one. And I think what I would like to do is put that in place of this one. What's this one? Yeah. It's going to be tricky because I'm not sure how it's going to work. If I constrain these, and I'd like to get them laid out a little bit better. If I constrain them to, I mean, how high are they meant to be by default? It's not like jump into anything here. I guess let's first of all create the values for them. So we'll do, can I do it in here? String array. Let's try it. There's only one way to find out. So if I do our options, and then CIT, and we'll do this one at 0, 0, 0, 1. See what I mean by fiddly work? YYP 3. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh. You'll notice that the number keys are one of the few things that I have to look at the keyboard to find. So that gives us 12, and then we need to do 24-hour, don't we? So 33, good number? No, not the one I'm looking for. 1, 4. RIP, P. 6, 7, 8, 8, 9, 20, 21, 22, and 23. So that gives us a selection of hours. And then I guess we only have 30-minute slots, don't we? So we need one more array. And these are going to be minutes options. We're going to have a item. So it's going to be either on the hour or at 30. Hour options, minutes options. Let's see if we can populate those lists now. Entries. Array. There we are. Hour options. And entries here. Array. Minutes options. There we go. It'd be good to put some kind of colon between these two. And maybe actually we could put it at the side of this one here. So what's the height on this? 25 dp. Layout width, I want that 50%, but I want it to snap. Why won't it snap? Is there a... Do we have to use this blueprint view? No, not that. Let's go back to design then. Is this some kind of grid view? Is it up here maybe? What are these options? Pack? Nope. What's this? Horizontal guideline? Doesn't seem to do anything. Infer constraints, clear all constraints, default margins. Ah, that's nice. Let's change that. View options. Show margins, fade on selected views. Where are we? There's got to be something in here to have a grid, surely. Show warnings and errors. Grid would have been really nice. Android Studio Design Grid. Show grid. Who grid? Who? Not me. Show grid. Nope, not seeing anything. What about in here? Or is it in tools maybe? Where are we now? We are in the, we have a tool. We are in some kind of design view. Not there, is it? Window? Active tool window. I'm not sure if there is one, which is a shame. But I think if we bring that over halfway and then we move this one up and we make it 25 dp height, it won't allow us to do that. There we go. And then I can move this. Is this not 25? That's 29. Alright, so I can now line these two things up and I can make it smaller. Can I do that without changing the height? No, evidently not. This is very fiddly. then move this one as well up to here maybe. This is still 28 now. DP. I want to move this one in as well. 25 DP. Do they line up? Is that okay? Don't know. Not sure. Let's constrain that to there and constrain that to there. Do we need to make that smaller? Let's make that 180 DP then. Yeah, that's better, isn't it? So we'll make these both 80. Okay. Which editor is that? It's Android Studio, the design view. Do you have a mock-up of your app? No, I'm doing this all exploratory, in an exploratory manner. I'm doing it all on the fly. So let's see what that looks like. It's not even there. Is it because it's up here? Where is it? Perhaps I have to use some kind of layout. Linear layout, vertical, that makes sense, doesn't it? And we've got constraint layout. Did I not save it? That might have been a problem. Yeah, it's almost as if the you have to have the top constrained to something as well. See, it's like that wants to be below there, and then there's this text baseline thing, isn't there? Is that it? So I can maybe link these up this way. That doesn't want to work. Oh, now they're lined up, look. I mean, this looks dog awful, but that looks really awful. Maybe they need to be taller. Let's try 30. Yeah, it's still awful. You can't even see the result of it. I wonder why that is. Right, so they have to be like 40 in order for you to be able to see the numbers. And this one I still can't see it. Hmm. 90? That's better. Okay, and I guess we're gonna have to make this one a little bit smaller as well, maybe 170. Okay, so that's somewhat better. And then maybe put just something in here to say what time it is. And we'll also do the baseline of that to this, if I can. Did that work? Yes. And then we'll, where is the strings file? There. We'll do v2 underscore. There we go. Learning new things every day with Vim. This is going to be time label, C and T. At time. Don't know about the lowercase yet, we'll see. And then this text here needs to be changed to at time. Okay, so that didn't work, did it? Because we didn't constrain it to the side of it, maybe? But I don't want it to do that. I want this to be at the side of this. Look at all these messy squiggly lines. Okay. Let's change that string, I don't like it. Okay, so that gives us something that we can create something with that repeats every day, because then we've got everything we need, haven't we? We've got start seconds comes from those two things, and slot size, yeah, that needs to go in as well actually. And so we need a duration one. Duration we have, it's there, and we can put that to there. And do we have options for duration? Duration options there, don't we? So we could use that. Entries. Array. Duration options. Okay. And constrain that to the sides here and here. And we should actually probably put a label above that. So let's break that constraint, move this down a bit, and get a text view in here. Constrain that to the bottom of here. And I feel like there should be a bigger gap there, so let's make that there like that. And then this will constrain to the bottom of here. And then this should have a 16 padding all the way around it, but it doesn't appear to. There we go. Okay. So if I put that there, then it will give me a 16 pixel there, a 16 pixel there. And then this one I can just change to match constraint, I think. That's it. How does that look? It looks okay. This needs a constraint here. And this constrains to here, so that's all right. Okay, so with that, we should be able to, and that is a big tangled mess of wiggly lines, should be able to capture the data that we need to do something that repeats every day. Yeah, not bad. Okay. This one, I think, needs to be hidden for now. I'm not sure how we do that. Visibility, hidden, invisible, or gone. Yeah, gone. Yeah. So, shall we proceed with this form and actually make it so that we can try and create a new task today? Or should I start working with logic of what happens when you change this from everyday to not everyday? See, this is going to be quite a lot of work, because if we change it to day of week, then we need to find out which day of the week. So then this, what is this one? Input. That needs to be day select. Spin a proto day. And we need entries for that. So that will be another one of these. And that's going to be days options. v2 underscore change day options. And then we'll have Sunday, Monday, choose date, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then we will have, if we do day in month, this is when it starts to get tricky. Been thinking a lot about this, and day of month we can easily solve the problem of whether or not that day exists by saying, if it's, say they put the 31st of February or something, and that date doesn't exist, then we could just roll it right back to the 29th, I guess. Or on a leap year. Or the 28th on a normal year. And then day of year, again, that's going to change depending on whether it's a leap year or not. So those two things are going to require a little bit of massaging, but should be all right. Yeah. I think we'll leave day of month and day of year for now, and we'll just work on these. So we've got minutes options and day options. The day options is for day of week. Yeah. Okay. So this we can now populate with day options. And it's invisible for now. If I make it visible, and then I'm going to put these in like a, not a fragment, just like a view. I don't want a full size thing. Space. Container. Spinner recycle view, horizontal scroll view, nested scroll view, view page, a card view, tabs, app bar layout, navigation view. It's good to know that they're there. They are there. Toolbar, tab layout, tab item, view stub, include fragment view, This is just a smaller view then. So if I do, okay, not really keen on that. Add view, map view. What if I just, yeah, I'll just do them both. I'll link them somehow. I'll put another text view in there, and I'll make that constraint to the bottom of here at 24 and constraint over here at 16. This one I will constrain to both sides, and width will be match constraint, and I'll need a string putting in for this as well, so that will be ft day label. Nice. Okay, so all I need to do then is constrain this to the top of this. And we need to do some work to change, to make this appear or disappear based on whether this everyday is selected. So that's going to be interesting. Because I think we will need to tap into the change event here. And I'm not seeing anything for on change. So let's look at all attributes if we can. View all attributes. On. No, don't want to do that. On. Change, select. Not sure. Not sure on that one. Let's do Android spinner on change. On selection change. The spinner does not support item click events. Calling this method will raise an exception. Better use on item selected listener. Okay, we can do that. All right. So all these have IDs. And we don't need this anymore. We should probably leave that open. We don't need that, we don't need that, we don't need any of this other stuff either. So, let's do implements spinner dot on item selected listener. And that should give us some implements methods that we can, there we go. Do I love that? No, because I've got multiples of them, so I don't think that's the way to do it. I think we should do something along the lines of find view by ID, r.id dot proto, so it's going to be operation, not label. Spinner, proto spinner, that one. We'll say that's a spinner, and we'll call it operation spinner. And then we can do operation spinner dot on selection changed, set on item selected listener. And then we need a new on item selected listener. Yeah, that's better. And then on item selected. So we need to say if so the positions of them, we know that I don't know if there's a way to do this with the XML, but there's two ways of doing it. I could say if the view.text is equal to something, but that'll break if I change the text, or I can do the position, which I think is the smarter thing to do. So if position equals 0, then, or if the position is not equal to 0, then we'll hide the spinner for the day select. So I also need spinner day select, or day spinner equals find view by ID r.id dot proto day. And then I should be able to do day spinner dot set visibility or visibility or something. To visibility or gone. Yeah. Else if position equals 1, which would be the one that is for, what's the problem there? Red Boolean. Oh, of course. We could set it to visible. And we'll see if that works. Not seeing it. Let's debug. Maybe here would be a good place to put a breakpoint. Maybe I've misnamed them. Don't need that open. Don't need that open. Don't need that open. So it's this one, which is spinner proto operation, and this one, spinner proto day. Both of which are, yeah, those are fine. I have an error here. Ah, of course. Actually, it looks like that might have worked, and it just didn't compile. Okay, here we are. Position is currently 0 because I haven't done anything. So if I step over this, it goes into here. Ah, that's wrong. That should be equal to. Yeah, actually that is a better way to do it. So if it's so if it's 0, then it shouldn't be visible. If it's 1, then it should be visible. So that should be not equal to 1, actually. Yeah. So that says if anything other than 1 is selected, which is day of week, then show it. Then hide it. Otherwise, if it is position 1, show it. Every day, and we need to do the label as well. Day of week, there it is, comes back. Yeah, every day, okay. So we need to do the label too. Day spinner, and why is that final? Spinner, no it's not, it's just text view. Day label equals find view by ID, and I don't think we've given it an ID, have we? Yeah, it's just text view 5, so that'll be label day. Should we go with label proto day? I need to come up with a naming convention that I'll remember. r.id.label proto day. Day label dot set visibility gone. And here day spinner is accessed from it needs to be declared final. Okay. Viz. All right, run it. Schedule tasks, here we are. Now if we do day of week, then we get the selection for the day of the week. If we do anything else, we get nothing. Great, okay, 4:30. And we also need a duration, don't we? Which we have here, it's just not labeled properly, so we'll sort that out. And we'll call this proto duration, label proto duration. Type first, activity, duration. Did I call that one label? Yeah, I did. Okay. Yeah. Do we have a string for that? Probably not. C2 underscore. That's going to be duration label. C and tag duration. Run it. Okay, I think that kind of works. So day of month. Capturing day of month is very tricky because we can either do we just give them a spinner with 31 options in it? And why have I actually called that day label? It should be day of week. Difficult. Difficult to try and think this through. Maybe something will come to me. How to capture day of month and day of year from the user. I think maybe we should proceed onwards with what we already have, because the next thing that we're going to need to do after this is select a task. And to do that, I think we need to load our task activity, but the task activity needs to know to go through to the goal activity, which needs to then go, which then needs to know. It's almost as if we need to have different modes for our activities, and I'm not sure if there's a proper way to do that in Android, whether there's like a return intent or something. So we could say, right, this is the final destination of this data. An intent is an abstract description of an operation to be performed. It can be used with start activity to launch an activity, broadcast intent to send it to any interested broadcast receiver components, and start service or bind service to communicate with a background service. An intent provides a facility for performing late runtime binding between code in different applications. Its most significant use is in the launching of activities where it can be thought of as the glue between activities. So what kind of extras can I add? Because what I need to add is almost a mode. Category launcher means it should appear in the launcher as a top level application, while category alternative means it should be included in a list of alternative actions the user can perform on a piece of data. MIME type. Normally the type is inferred from the data itself. By setting this attribute, we disable that evaluation. Component specifies the name of the component class to use for the intent. Extras. There are two primary forms of intent you will use. Explicit intents have specified a component via set component or set class, which provides the exact class to be run. Often these will not include any other information, simply being a way for an application to launch various internal activities it has as the user interacts with the application. Implicit intents have not specified a component. Instead, they must include enough information for the system to determine which of the available components is best to run for that intent. When using implicit intents, given such an arbitrary intent, we need to know what to do with it. This is handled by the process of intent resolution, which maps an intent to an activity, broadcast receiver, or service, or sometimes two or more activities or receivers that can handle it. Rules around matching an intent against all the intent filters descriptions in the installed application packages, plus in the case of broadcasts, any broadcast. Right, so I'm guessing this is for like when you share things, like if you're on Reddit and you press share and then it gives you a list of apps that you can resolve it with. So I think we're going to have to do it ourselves. So what's going to happen when if I have a button down here, and that button, so let's put it down here somewhere, zoom in. I'm going to constrain that to the bottom of here. Then what happens to that button when I hide this? I'm curious. Okay, so it stays where I want it to. That's fine. Let's bang that across there and there. And then we'll give this button a text value of, so proto fd c2 there, proto select button, and that's going to be select task. Right. Okay, back to this, and we can set the, how do I go back to there? So button proto select. Okay, that'll do. Right, we do that, and then we set the text of it to select task. And what's going to happen when we click it is we're going to launch our tasks activity, but we're going to launch it with a different mode, and it will decide what to do with it based on the mode, the intent in the mode. Okay, so on click, I need an on click, so prototype, there we go. Where are we? There. So click select task, and that's going to be a public void that takes a view as an argument. And intent equals new intent context this, and then what is it now? It's task activity dot class. Resolve this. Intent dot add extra. Put extra. So we've got string, integer, byte, car, long flow, int, short, bundle, byte, array, char array, double array, long array, string, boolean, float, parseable. So I think we will have put extra, and then we'll have something along the lines of mode, and we'll give it a mode, and we'll do that in the task. So we'll say like task activity dot mode underscore scheduled task, something like that. Yeah, and obviously that needs to exist, so task activity GG, and this is going to be a public final or public static final int. Yeah, and that's going to be mode scheduled activity, and that will give that a mode of 1, and then we'll do another one and C2 underscore. What's this going to be? It's going to be this is the one, the default mode, which is when we are creating a slot. We'll make that 0. So we should be able to use that now. That should resolve. Yeah. And then intent, or just start activity, I guess. Task activity. No, just intent. Yeah, so a few things that we need to pass through, I think. We either put the onus on the goal activity to create the scheduled task, or yeah, I think that's the smart thing to do. So if that's the case, we need to pass through all the information we've already got, such as operation, which is every day or something like that. Start time, that's in seconds, so we need to calculate that. And slot size, right? And then they need to be passed along the chain to every subsequent activity. And this seems like a pretty messy way to do it, so I'm not sure if there's going to be a better way to do this with Android, but I haven't come across one yet. So what do we need to do? We need to get the operation. How do we get the value of a spinner? I've forgotten. Let's make these final spinner, day spinner. Final operation spinner. What's the problem? May not have been initialized. Yeah, that's true. So I guess we don't need to have that anymore. We can just have this dot day spinner, and then operation spinner here. This dot. I guess we just initialize these to null. What's the problem here? Cannot assign to final variable. Ah, that sucks. Because I can't do find view by ID in there yet, can I? I don't think. Don't think I can do that. Maybe I can. That doesn't seem right, but it's not shouting at me for it. Really? You're gonna let me get away with that? Really? I'm gonna run that just to make sure it works. And obviously that means that yeah, that should work. All right, let's see if that actually does work. Paula Bean, do you agree with me that native apps are not yet dead and probably never will be? I completely agree with you. Yeah, I mean, if Google believed that and Apple believed that, then everything would have been written in JavaScript a long time ago. And the truth is, JavaScript and the web stack is extremely slow. Extremely slow. In comparison to something like this, which I think compiles down to a bytecode. So yeah, I don't think native apps are dead at all. What was I doing? I was testing whether that works or not. It stopped, and I think it's probably because we're not allowed to do this, even though it's allowing us to do it. Do we have anything in the log? Where did you stop? There. Null pointer exception. Attempt to invoke virtual method window callback. Get callback on a null object reference. Echo stop. UK. So I think lesson here is that when we can't do this, and that we should probably just do this. Instead. So that we can do something like intent.put extra, and we'll call it operation. And now Android Studio is having trouble keeping up with my fingers, and that's going to be like operation spinner dots current position or position. I can't remember how we get the value of a spinner, and I wish that that would go away. So that's that one. And then slot TS we need to calculate, and slot size we need to calculate. What? Value of a spinner. Where else are we using it? Where else do we use spinner? We use it in the activity that's duration activity. Get selected item position. +1. That's how I did it last time. And the +1 was, yeah, okay. So we can do get selected item position, and that will give us the again we need to have a representation in code of what these options are, and I think we should probably make them constants. Undo. So public that could be private. Yeah, it could be private. Private static final, and that's just going to be an int, and it's going to be mode or operation every day. And did I put these in focus lib? They are not for this purpose. Tip of the day, guys, don't put your caps lock on when you're using Vim bindings. Crazy things happen real quick. Operation everyday position equals 0. Operation find E FE there. C2 capital D. Day of week position. And we're coming to the end of the stream now, guys, so if you've got any more questions for me, put them in the chat and I'll get to them as soon as I've finished doing this. Find week. Wow. You can tell it's Friday because my fingers have given up. C2 underscore day of month. Find month. C2 underscore year. So this one will be 1, this one will be 2, this one will be 3, and then I think we should be able to use that now, so we can put that in here. This dot operation, and it's not this dot, it's prototype activity dot operation day of month, week. Yeah. And then this one again. Prototype activity dot operation day week position. And down here we'll need that operation selected item position. Yeah, that works. Because then on the other side we can use those constants, can't we? Yeah. Okay, that's one done. Start TS. Should I call the stream here? To do. Let's just check that we are still working. Polar bean question, because I hear people talking about that multi-billion corporations only use stuff as Xamarin and Cordova, and that Apple and Google don't really care what development systems you use as long as enough people use the apps. I think the problem is that if Apple and Google didn't offer a native app API, that there are always applications that need performance, especially games, that would go crazy because they wouldn't be able to get direct access to the hardware through those things. I mean, I've used Cordova a long time ago, so I'm not sure what it's like now, but it's still a web stack, and a web stack is a very heavy thing. So if everybody developed using those things, we'd be using a lot more RAM for a start on our phones, and battery life would be hit harder. There are costs. It's like having layers on top of, you imagine the CPUs here, and then you've got like the Java stack, or whatever the Android stack is here. That's like as close. This is this close, and then if you put a web stack on top of that, that web stack still has to run through the native API anyway. So you imagine the cost in resources as you add layers to that cake gets more and more, and that's why I don't think. I mean, I understand why people use Cordova. It's because it's a lot cheaper to hire web developers. Or to port existing functionality from your website or web app, and it's instantly cross-platform. I get the cost advantage of it, but there are some apps that's just, it's not, you can't do it because you need more speed. I hope that answers your question. Okay, so I'm gonna, if there are any more questions, guys, feel free to ask, but I think I'm going to call it because it's Friday night and I know you all got to get to your barbecues and such. So we'll pick up from here next time. I think we've done quite well today. You know, we've done some fiddly user interface work where we can do this sort of thing, and this should actually take us through to, it doesn't, does it? Yeah, because we never added the on-click handler, so let's do that before we clock off. Where is the click handler? On-click, there. Click select task. Last job for the day. Polar Bean, you're welcome. I hope I was able to shed some light on that situation. Okay, schedule tasks. Yeah, it does. It takes us through. Okay. There we go. And that back button is broken now as well, so we should probably look at how we can do better back navigation than we are doing now. All right, so at the end of the stream, guys, I usually check my changes into version control. End of episode 34. More work towards schedule tasks. Starting to build the intent and mode system for passing these things through toward the goal activity. Commits. And then we get Android Studio trying to be our mother and telling us that you shouldn't commit code with to-dos or warnings in it, which is BS. Because we're all responsible adults. Maybe if I was trying to release some production code or something, that sort of thing would be acceptable, but I don't know. Okay, so I will be back on Monday at 7:30 p.m. UK time. If you join the stream late and you want to catch up, I will upload this episode to the Zero to Android playlist on the Coding with Carl channel on YouTube before the end of the night. And yeah, thank you for joining me, everyone. It's been fun. Okay, any more questions in here? No? Yeah, okay. Great. Thanks again, guys. Take care, and I'll see you soon.